My name is Secondwind 814. And I'm back from seeing Doctor Strange. Yes, that's the newest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I thought it was awesome. So, before I start this, I'm going to give a very, very big warning about this film. And that is, do not, I repeat, do not see this film in 3D. I didn't see the film in 3D, and I'm glad I didn't. Because some of the effects in this film, I think, would cause a lot of headaches in 3D. And maybe possibly seizures. So, yeah, that's a warning. Don't see this film in 3D. So, getting a... So, yeah, I thought this one was actually very good. I thought it was well acted. I liked the story. I liked the effects, and I like pretty much everything with it. So basically, in the movie, we have Dr. Stephen Strange, a highly skilled and renowned neurosurgeon who is also an arrogant, self-centered asshole. However, he gets into a car crash and loses his hands because, as I think everybody you can probably guess, you need very, very steady and precise hands to be a neurosurgeon. And the accident basically causes nerve damage that causes his hands to shake like that. And yeah. So he tries everything in all different surgeries, and nothing works. There's nothing seems to be able to give him back the use of his hands. And see, they shake, nothing works. So, however, he hears about a guy who somehow walked away from it, who somehow is able to walk despite having a very severe injury. And the guy directs him to go to who basically seek out get out this place. I forget what it's called. I think it's I don't know. Hold on a minute. Tells him to go to Kamar Taj. Sorry about that. But anyway, so yeah. And basically he goes there, and that's where the movie really begins. At least the main part of the movie, in my opinion. So, basically, he goes there and finds this academy. And I have to say, I did like this structure of the academy, or whatever, or it's an academy. We'll just call it that. Yeah. It's an academy where where sorcerers train. So yeah, he studies under he studies there, and that's where we get to see a lot of the really cool effects of this film. And I have to say, the effects in this film are amazing. From these people are twisting the buildings around, now going to different dimensions, the drawing of the opening of the circles, the goes the constant, those like weaponry, the everything. I think that the effects of this movie are amazing. Amazing. And yes, I know some people will say that special effects can ruin a movie, but I think they actually greatly help the movie. Because let's face it, Doctor Strange is a sorcerer. He's a magic user. He's not a fighter. He's not a hand-to-hand brawler. He's not. He is a distinctive magic user. And the main focus of his character is using spells, and other magic to be able to fight effectively. And now I feel like, and now I'm going to, now I sound like I'm going to do a video game description. So let's get back on track. So he goes in. So he trains under them, and one night he learns. He sneaks into the academy's library and finds this jewel. Or I said jewel medallion. And he steals one's texts, and he learns a spell that allows him to reverse time, or I shouldn't say reverse, but basically control time. Which it's basically the library keeper and his assistant, and Wong and Mordo. They yell at him for it because messing with time is messing with laws, and that can cause serious problems. So, oh yeah. So yeah, I think it's. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, losing my train of thought here. Let me get back on track. Sorry about this. So, basically, he gets into a battle when he meets the main villain, who was a student at this academy as well, and then left. Basically, he left because he wanted to see eternal life, which it's according to the laws of nature is a big no-no. No. Blah. So, oh god, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Okay, so yeah, moving on. So he gets into his first major fight. Well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So basically, he learns that the world is protected by 3 sanctums, and each which basically create a shield around the Earth from other dimensions, and that the sorcerers is basically the other ones that guard the sanctum. And essentially, the sanctum in London, there are 3: a Hong Kong, New York, London, and the London sanctum gets attacked by the bad guy. I forget his name now, and his disciples. Those and then New York, and they wind up in New York, which once again I have to stress how amazing the effects of this movie are. So they go into New York, and that's where you see the first real fight of the movie, which I have to say, it actually feels very real. Stephen Strange, he's a doctor, yeah, but he's not but once again, he's not a fighter. He's not he's not a bit martial. He doesn't have any real martial arts training. I mean, the academy it was training him with weapons, but he doesn't. Excuse me. he doesn't have of any hand-to-hand combat at training. He doesn't training. But he does manage to fight it, duke it out with a villain and his disciples, and so basically they they go he finds this cape which has a cloak or whatever, basically has a mind of its own, because why not? Not. So yeah. Oh, and he ends up. Oh, and basically he does get attacked. He gets hit in the chest. And ends up back at the hospital he worked at that. But yet the cape or the cloak of levitation basically distracts the disciple that was chasing him. And he does. And his former love or nurse love, his former love of interest, I guess you could call her, he helps him, and this leads to a very, very entertaining astral projection fight. Yes, there's astral projection in this movie. Basically, the cape is basically messing around with the disciple of the bad guy. The bad guy disciple flings throws out an astral projection for him, follows Strange into the hospital, and they basically duke it out in astral form, with Strange winning and straight up murdering. Well, I shouldn't say murder, but he does end up killing the soldier, and that's cool. And I think the fight is funny because basically they basically fight around the hospital, or flying around the hospital, slamming into walls and causing all sorts of activity to happen. And I think it's probably a very good scene. So, well, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the fights in this. And so eventually he ends up able to hold off the end. So eventually he does meet back up in the New York Sanctum with his assistant Mordo and the Ancient One. So basically, it will basically tell him about what's really going on, and how he's. And then the bad guy comes back. And that this leads to a very intense chase through what's known as the mirror dimension. I'll talk about that a little bit later. And we do get to see some of the incredible reality-bending effects, as the bad guy is basically, he constantly twists the landscape around. Now, there are buildings going on their side, there's stuff moving all over the place. And basically, it's just really, really cool. Well, I think. So, yeah. And basically, the Ancient One shows up, but in the fight against the villain, she gets stabbed, and Doctor Strange tries to take her to the hospital where he once worked, but she dies. So, yeah. And this all leads up to a final showdown with the bad guy. Hi, which they do end up defeating. And I'm basically jumping ahead so I can get to the end of this movie so I can discuss some of the finer points. So yeah, so let's talk about some of the finer points. So I did briefly mention the mirror dimension, which is there, which is actually pretty impressive. That's it. What it basically is a dimension that's basically the how do I say this? A dimension that's basically all a trap dimension, or a dimension where the sorcerers go when they need to practice something. Something. So, oh yeah, uh, it's when you go for practice something. They trap which. Okay, so anyways, sorry, alright, train of thought deeper out there. Basically, the mirror dimension is awesome, and I think it's an awesome concept because it basically allows them to go into the sorcerers to do battle without basically disrupting the human world. But let's face it, when sorcerers fight off, the human world is going to get blown up eventually, destroyed a lot eventually, which we see in the showdown. So, the main enemy here is, as I said, is a disciple. I forget his name now, but basically he's seeking eternal life, and he wants to do this by calling forth the dark dimension, and which is basically a dimension that's beyond our world. That's basically beyond the time, space and time. And it's where the big this big ugly demon dwells. And I forget his name again. Sorry. So, well, yeah. The bad guy, he basically wants to bring the dark world into our world so everybody can have eternal life. Of course, he doesn't really mention about what happens. Doesn't really mention, and that doing so can cause severe issues. As Doctor Strange says that they should put warnings in the movie that they should put warnings before the spells, not after it. And so, oh yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about the characters before I go any further. So, obviously we have Doctor Strange, and who obviously is the lead character, but I think he was very well acted. His character was very well acted, and Benedict Cumberbatch did a very good acting job. So, here. Basically, he is an arrogant, cocky, stuck-up doctor. And let's face it, he has every right to be. He's an expert at what he does. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Well, I mean, he has every right to be. So, arrogant, he's a brilliant and expert surgeon. And of course, like I also said at the beginning, he's also an asshole. Well, even when he loses the use of his hands, and he basically he's trying to spend and do all these surgeries. Excuse me. He's trying to do all these surgery. He's to get the use of his hands back, and it fails. And obviously, because surgery is all he's ever done, he doesn't really see any life outside of his work. And of course, this basically just makes him more of an asshole to everyone around him. So, oh yeah, and I think, and his reactions to hearing the ancient one, uh, ones, and first are, I think pretty rational when the ancient one starts telling him about how there's all sorts of dimensions beyond our own. And it's like, I mean, if you come on, let's face it, if you're somebody who's worked in a medical field their whole life, and all of a sudden here's this person in Nepal, who lives in a temple, uh, or it's basically also an academy, he, who basically starts telling you that all sorts of different dimensions exist. I think you're I think they're pretty damn crazy. See, but hey, yeah, I think that's it was a. I think he was very well acted, as he's not used to this. He's used to material things. He's used to working with tools. He's used to working with working on people. He's not used to working with magic and spells. Spells. And so, oh, oh, well, basically, he's not used to. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry about that. My train of thought derailed again. So, anyways, yeah. Uh, he's not used to this stuff. He's not used to believing that there's dimensions beyond our own. He's kind of like I mean, I guess I was gonna say he's like kind of like Neo in the Matrix, being introduced to a whole new world that he's never heard before, and he has no idea exists, and basically exists, and that basically only this time, instead of the fact that of the revelation that he lives in a computer world, it's the revelation that there are other worlds beyond our own. So, well, basically, he goes to that. Sorry about that. So anyway, yes. Now we have the Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton. And for all of you Asians out there who are crying about whitewashing, please shut up. Yes, I understand that in the original comic books, the Ancient One was an Asian person. But Marvel has stated that they did not cast an Asian person as the Ancient One because they're trying to avoid a stereotype. And come on, Tilda Swinton does an awesome job as the Ancient One, and as this ageless person, and this knowledgeable person who's been around for a long time and is basically a master of magic. And magic, but who has a bit of a secret. That she's and she is not just like some old person. She can fight, as we see in the beginning of the movie. She basically finds a couple of his disciples. She basically squares off with the villain and his disciples, and she kicks their asses. So she basically heats up about like 5 or 6 of them when they're all coming after her. It's actually pretty awesome. Not to mention the way she was acted as this knowledgeable, but knowledgeable, but fighter was, I think, was very well done. And then, of course, we have Mordo, who's Strange's assistant, or basically partner, if you in crime, if you will. He's basically an expert. Or he came to. Or he was. He explains that he was once in Strange's position, and then he came there to who find healing, and now he's basically a very powerful sorcerer. So, oh, yeah. And then, of course, we have Wong, the librarian, who I think is one of the funnier characters, because all throughout the film, he's basically he's this stern, and very stubborn, and very serious guy, and doesn't ever crack a smile, who I think is funny, which is used to very good and humorous effects. And then, of course, we have the villain, who, surprisingly, you don't see I shouldn't say you don't see a lot of him in this movie, but he's not, I don't think he's in the movie very much as I see it. But he is done very well played by, hold on. Mads Mikkelsen, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But he does a very good job of it, and I need to stop here and say that whoever did the makeup on him and his disciples did a fantastic job. Of when he is conversing with Doctor Strange, when we see the close-up of his eyes, how he has like this lizard-like skin around his eye, I think that was very, very well done. And of course, we have the love interest for Doctor Strange, Dr. Palmer. And Dr. Palmer is now, she's not really in this film that much, as she's basically a minor character. But she does serve as the love interest for Doctor Strange. And even though she, like I said, she's not in it that much, she does a great job where she is in it. Now we come to the conclusion, to the climax of the movie. Basically, Strange and Mordo, they arrive in Hong Kong to find the Sanctum has already been attacked and destroyed, and now the Dark Dimension with the demon is coming through into our world. However, Strange manages to use the time spell that he had, that he learned, and reverse everything. However, during the spell, he gets hit by he gets attacked by a villain, and basically freezes everybody in time except the sorcerers, who basically go to fight, while the guy is describing, the villain is describing the Dark Dimension, a dimension beyond on space and time. He goes in. Strange actually, he has an idea. Goes into the Dark Dimension, finds the demon, and with a time spell, basically he tells the demon that he's at a bargain, but this demon won't do anything. And he ain't gonna bargain. However, because Strange has and the demon basically kills Strange. However, because Strange has the time spell, Strange just keeps coming back and 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 coming back in this endless loop. that basically he makes the demons, as Strange says, as the Doctor's prisoner, which is it's he doesn't like, which the demon doesn't like at all. So he makes a bargain with. Oh, excuse me. So he makes a bargain again with if the guy, if the demon, and as he comes out, and when he comes out, we see the bargain that he made, and basically he sacrificed it to basically sacrifice that the demon takes the villain and his disciples away, and excuse me, a and in exchange for going back into my leaving the world of the human world alone. And so, finally, oh, and so, basically, after you seal up, and well, everybody goes on their ways, and I need to step up it here. Well, I need to go back here because I did forget to mention one big and very important part about how the Ancient One's character, and that is the reason why she's lived so long is because she actually draws power from the Dark Dimension, Henshin, which turns out so no one but her knew. Well, no one and the villain knew. But anyways, so Mordo, I think he basically but once he realizes what Tilda, the Ancient One is, and that she's basically been deceiving everybody at the Academy, or basically forever. He says, "I've had enough. I'm done. I'm gone," and walks away because he doesn't want to follow the path of somebody who's basically been lying to him in the entire time. So, yeah, and that's basically Doctor Strange. And of course, this movie has not one but two post-credit scenes. So, excuse me. Oh, this one. So, in the first movie, we see Doctor Strange conversing with Thor. About how Thor is trying to find his his brother Loki, and his father, so they can return to Asgard. And then the final in this credit scene, that's basically after all the credits, we see the guy who was paralyzed, who now is able to walk again, and we learn that it's in the movie that he's able to walk again, basically because he basically channels magic through his body. However, he gets attacked by Mordo, who basically steals the magic from him, turning him back into a paraplegic. And basically, Mordo says that there are essentially too many sorcerers in the world, and presumably kills him, which I think basically sets up Mordo to be the villain of the next movie. We'll see. So, let's see. Is there anything else I forgot to mention? Oh, yes. I have to mention the humor of this film. This film has incredible humor. There are several parts in this film that made me laugh out loud. Like when they're like the scene in the library where Wong is basically reading a book, listening to Beyonce in headphones. Yes, even in Nepal, all in ancient academies where they study any mystical arts. They still have have modern day iPads or iPods, just whatever. And basically, Strange, who now has the ability to draw portals, he basically draws portals and basically sneaks books out behind him, and I think it's funny, and it's incredibly funny. There's another part. There's another part where Doctor Strange is basically getting his quarters, and Mordo basically gives him this slip of paper that has Shambhala written on it, and he's asking, like, what is this, my mantra? And he's like, no, it's the Wi-Fi password. Yes, even in a school, even in a school in Nepal where they teach mystic arts, they have Wi-Fi. I mean, there was a lot of moments that made me laugh out loud in this movie. So, I guess it's time for the final verdict. So the final final verdict for Doctor Strange is a very excellent 9 out of 10. 10. And would I recommend to go see it? Absolutely. Absolutely. I say go out and see it now. So, oh yeah, there you have it. Doctor Strange, 9 out of 10. Go see it. And, well, that about wraps it up for this video. My name is SecondWind814. Thank you so much for watching. May the wind always be at your back. See ya next time.